We're here today to talk about a white paper launch that is happening consistent or concurrent with this conference. We're going to be handing the white paper out to everybody after lunch. I think I'm standing in between you and lunch, so these comments are going to be very brief and very quick. But I want to put the white paper into the context of social media overall, how we think about social as a company, and this certainly influenced the white paper. And we'll, from there, sort of dive into the white paper very, very briefly. And then again, it'll be on your desk or on your table so you can get it after the lunch. So when we think about social, there are really three things we kind of want to leave people with as we think about the social space itself. In terms of setting that context, social is about storytelling. Social is about conversation. You guys have heard a lot of this, but we're certainly here to tell you that it's a very powerful medium from that perspective and very unique within the digital ecosystem. Humans have been sharing stories for a long time. We have a way of thinking about, and we've evolved in a certain way to have a conversation, to think about stories. Social comes closer to connecting with that than a lot of other digital media, perhaps more than any other digital media. And from that perspective, it's extraordinarily powerful. The speed of the storytelling has certainly increased, and so it requires an expertise to take advantage of it, but it really creates the opportunity for one-to-one marketing at scale. If you think about it from the perspective of a chart, you can sort of think about reach and depth of conversation, and there's a sort of a graph that kind of looks parabolic or I guess concave there. Social really gives you the opportunity to be in the upper right quadrant, and that's extremely powerful. So number two is that social is mobile, social is native, social is data, and from our perspective, certainly social is everything. And I think this is really important. A lot of agencies today still think of social as a channel. Social is not a channel, it's a different way of doing advertising. And we'll talk a little briefly about that. Obviously, from our perspective, it's the biggest thing since sliced bread. What makes social so powerful and why it is not a channel but a different way of thinking about digital marketing is that people volunteer information about themselves. The last panel, and obviously the theme about the conference, focused a lot on this data question. And I think what makes social interesting as opposed to the open web, as we think about it, is that whereas the open web is all about collecting data on the basis of cookies and then trying to be predictive with those cookies, I think most people in the audience probably are aware of the fact that cookies have real challenges from an effectiveness perspective. They also have real challenges from a privacy perspective. What's interesting about social is that people come to a place like Facebook, come to a place like Twitter, share a tremendous amount of information about themselves, and look to Facebook and Twitter to be their sort of trusted privacy proxy. So a company like Kinetic can do really a form of hyper-targeting that's far more effective, for example, than retargeting, and it is statistically much more effective than kind of open web retargeting. But we don't actually go in and see the consumer information. We don't have that kind of access. Facebook sort of keeps that, Twitter keeps that, Pinterest keeps that as, in effect, a trusted proxy on the data front. So it's an interesting ecosystem, and you're just seeing the beginning of this now. The Atlas relaunch is a big piece of how Facebook sort of considers that and thinks about data from the perspective of how it can be used and how it can be used more broadly. By the way, social is mobile, right? 70% of Facebook is consumed mobily. Over 50% of the ad dollars spent are mobile, 90% for Twitter and for Pinterest. And that's because you can do a deterministic device targeting across devices. When you advertise, when a marketer advertises on Facebook, they know that they're reaching the same person, a real person, whether that's on the mobile device or whether that is on the desktop. And outside of the social ecosystem, the best you can be is kind of probabilistic about that as opposed to deterministic. So that makes it extraordinarily powerful. So how does Kinetic play into that? There are a lot of platforms in the digital ecosystem. Everybody by now knows about making fun of the acronym soup of digital marketing or DMPs. Actually, I think that's wrong. Our marketing people put that together. It should be data marketing platform. DSPs, demand side platform. The new buzz phrase that's starting to gain traction out there is the social marketing platform, and the concept behind it is if you're going to play in the social ecosystem, if you're going to do the kinds of things that we do as a company, you have to have elements of being both a DMP and a DSP. So that brings me to the third thing, which really is kind of manifest in the white paper itself, which is that social is effective. Social is effective, we believe, far more so than what you typically find in the digital marketing ecosystem. It is because of the data, it's because of the unique nature of the media and the effectiveness of that media. In the white paper, we talk about a couple of case studies, Microsoft and Chevron, who are both clients, where you see a 10x improvement in certain measures. Social is interesting because it allows you to drive from reach and frequency down to conversion in a way that is also unique and pretty powerful. So I have, I think, 11 seconds left here, so I'm going to wrap it up very quickly, and I don't want to stand between you and the lunch. I think, again, when I think about AdAge white papers, I've got a stack on my desk. I have used these sort of inserts as a quick reference guide. We're hoping that this serves a similar function, so that's why we're leaving it for you guys, and you can take it back with you. The three things that we want you to take away, number one, social is this incredibly powerful storytelling and conversation vehicle. Number two, social is not a channel. It's a different way of doing advertising. I would say a paradigm shift, but I would be guilty of using just one more buzz phrase in an industry that is, has its share of buzz phrases. And number three, it works, and it works very powerfully and very effectively on behalf of marketers, both kind of top of funnel, mid funnel, and driving down to the bottom of the funnel. So please take a look at the guide. You can also take a look at our website. We just rebranded, changed the look and the feel of the company, didn't change the name, but we branded our site, so we're very proud of that. And I'll leave you sort of with this thought. Facebook is becoming the social media equivalent of TV as a place where everyone gathers, and you must be. Twitter plays a role in this ecosystem. Pinterest is coming on and doing some very interesting work. And we think ultimately taken together, it becomes an extremely powerful way for a marketer to reach their consumer audience one-to-one at scale. And with that, thank you very much and enjoy your lunch.